Welcome to the Business L&K podcast. I am here in the AOI podcast studio at the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce, representing the Partnership for Economic Development. I'm Kathy Andersen, and I'm here with Diane Temme, or Dr. Diane Temme Stinton. How are you this morning?
I'm great.
Good. Diane is the CEO and owner of TMCO, a high-tech manufacturing company here in Lincoln, Nebraska. In 2023, they were recognized as Manufacturer of the Year in Nebraska. Wonderful things that TMCO and Diane does in our community. But today, we are here to talk about an entrepreneurial journey with Anchovy. And today is 1 month after the launch of Anchovy. Very exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. And, we're seeing press, and in January, Anchovy was selected to pitch at Hy-Vee's Business Summit at the Scott Data Center. So congratulations on all the early momentum and what you're doing there. Oh, a little bit about what Anchovy is. It is a mobile software application, and it makes answering the question, what's for dinner, easy. So to do that, it delivers recipe importing, storage, sharing, and automated meal planning in one seamless platform. Anchovy leverages AI to deliver a recipe storage and meal planning solution that becomes tailored to the specific needs of your family the more you use the app. And before we started recording, Diane and I were having a nice conversation. Can you come back to that? Why is AI important? Why is it not just something you're leveraging, for your startup, but important to the core of why you started Anchovy?
Yeah. So, when you're starting up and you have an idea, a lot of times, you think about catching the right wave at the right time, right? So the right idea, the right place, the right time, the right team, the right collaboration. So all of those things kind of come together when you're in a startup. And when we were just exploring the development of Anchovy, ChatGPT was just released. And then we were able to really see the potential for AI in the space. And so timing wise, that felt like really, really, really good. I was reading an article, and it's a great quote because now everybody's using it and nobody knows who actually maybe said it first. You can post if you know. But the quote was something like, I want AI to do the laundry and dishes so I can do the writing and creative. I don't want it to do the writing and creative so that I can focus on my dishes and laundry. And so it's really about using AI and leveraging AI as a tool to really simplify our lives. And that's such a tall order because the question of what's for dinner, like you said in your kind of introduction, the reason why it really hasn't been solved yet is because, number one, it's extremely personal and everybody does it a little bit differently. So one size fits all solution does not work. And secondly, it's such a complex issue, all the things that go into figuring that question out. And so we're really trying to make the most of AI to simplify and really improve the experiences of families.
I love it. Thank you. And tell us about the leap. You mentioned the timing and thinking about going on this journey. What made you certain that you needed to solve this problem?
Oh, boy. That's really tough. I mean, I think there's a lot of, ideating. I think entrepreneurs, you have a lot of different thoughts at any time. I would say most of those thoughts don't see the light of day. But to pick out those thoughts that you think what, this really has legs. For me, thinking about Anchovy really was about solving a problem, and a problem that, why doesn't this solution exist? So I was convinced that it already did exist somewhere. I was downloading other apps, other tools, menu planning tools, food recipe apps, and I didn't like the experience at all. And I came to the conclusion that maybe the vision in my head is just not out there. And then it's really that decision of, okay, like, am I, again, right place, right time? Am I equipped? Do I have the resources? Do I have, the business know-how? And by then I was 10 years into my career, 4 years as CEO of TMCO, and just with the connections that I've been able to build through organizations like the Chamber, I feel like I had a great sense of business credibility behind me already that was in my favor. Yes. And so, but still, like, that leap of I have an idea to let's make it real is like so intimidating. And so I explored the idea in partnership with Don't Panic Labs in terms of what it was going to take in the creation. If you interview Don't Panic Labs at some point, they will tell you they thought this was like the worst idea on the planet for like the first 30 minutes and were ready to talk me out of it. But again, it's the timing with the AI technologies that makes this actually feasible and also very, very attractive.
Excellent. Glad that you did line up all of those factors and that you created Anchovy. And you connected with Don't Panic Labs, and you did that hard work of that, the process that they do with entrepreneurs. What else? Who did you talk to? What kind of resources did you tap into early in your journey?
Yeah. So, I come from a little bit of a different position, being the owner of TMCO. So I had some financial resources at my disposal. So I own Anchovy, and we currently haven't taken any funding. So and that's kind of got us through the MVP and through launch. So right now we're really about just, evangelizing the product and going out and getting users. But before then, it was really about you really have to think about the problem that you're trying to solve. And also thinking about this isn't a novel idea. Other people have done it. So why me? Why now? And also, you're thinking about the barriers that people maybe have to using an app, to downloading a new app. And like a B2C mass consumer app is like possibly the hardest market that you'll find, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's so many apps out there, like millions and millions of apps. They all want your attention. We're in an attention economy. And so trying to break through in that space is like, it's insane. Yeah, it's crazy. And so the more, we understand our customer, our users, we're able to optimize and deliver a really quality experience. I think that's really very key to our success. And so really it's talking about, your struggles around or pain points around getting a meal on the table. So it's really talking to peers and friends and really anybody about what that process looks like, and also eavesdropping on many conversations where all of a sudden, if somebody says something like food recipe dinner, like my ears just like perk up. I have like spidey sense now.
Somebody's in line at the store and you're like, oh, what are they deciding, what to cook for dinner? Yeah.
Oh, totally. But there's, the thing is there's no judgment. And I think like that's the other thing that I really want to get out there too, is that okay, so I have two small kids, 4 and 1, and we had Chick-fil-A last week. I, finished work at 6 yesterday. Well, I guess we're stopping at Chick-fil-A again. And, I think we have to go with what works, for us. We're all different. And at the end of the day, it's just, it takes our attention away from things that are important. Like I literally stop what I'm doing at 3 o'clock every day to think about like, oh, what am I going to feed my family? And I think just that working mom guilt, but anybody who prepares food for their family, like if you somehow don't manage that, like you feel guilty, you feel like a bad spouse or partner. And I just think that we don't really talk about those things because we're obsessed with, having it all together and letting everybody else see how all together that you have it. So the app is really also there to provide like a community and network of support.
And I noticed on your website you have a blog, and you talk about some of those things and helping
Absolutely.
build that community.
It's my place to to vent about all these things.
I love it.
Yeah, but we hope that it resonates with people because I feel like we all have the same struggle, and at some point, like in the evening, like you're gonna have to figure out what you're gonna eat.
It's true. Everyone has to. And as a big user of anchovy yourself, have you had a lot of product discoveries, or are you constantly talking to, development on, we need to change this, or this is going to be the next iteration of the product?
That's is part of the fun and part frustrating. I mean, there's so many things because the technology is there. The AI is there. It's capable of doing like so many different things. Now, the linchpin now is really getting that usership so that we become revenue generating so that we're able to build out these features. So, I mean, like we have really, really big aspirations for Anchovy. We have a really great product right now. And it's really our hope that we do get the usership and the support so we're able to continue building out like some really awesome things.
Great. All right. Drive for more users. And you mentioned big hopes, big dreams for Anchovy. What is this? What's next? Or what are some of those dreams? Tell us more.
Which one do you want today?
Yes.
One of my favorite ones, there are a couple ones. I've always been like very community minded. I think people know TMCO and me for some of the work that I've done around community. But for example, maybe partnering with food banks, for example, and being able to release a version of the product that really takes into consideration, like really cost effective, nutritious meals that people can, because the cost of living is increasing. I think, like people are a little bit cash strapped. So to really facilitate that, or also to be able to become a truly international worldwide app, it's really understanding food cultures around the world. Like food is a connector, but every culture does food a little bit differently. And so to be able to really respect the nuances. So for example, let's say you take a trip to Italy, right? You had an amazing focaccia and you want to somehow duplicate or replicate that experience here, right? So you get an Italian recipe. Well, you could put a recipe into Google Translate, but like it'll give you a literal translation. But for example, like the type of flour, like, okay, well, what is a good equivalent here? Where can you get that, right? And so like if we can really hack those things and create those types of connections, really we have a worldwide product. There is no recipe or food app that has been able to manage a worldwide audience.
I love that dream.
Yes.
And I love hearing you talk about it. There's so much magic and joy that you want to bring to recipes and planning what's for dinner and sharing these things. And that definitely plays true across your website and in this conversation.
Thanks.
Do you have any advice for others setting out on their entrepreneurial journey, or other things that are on your mind?
Yeah, I think, a couple of things. First, I think you have to kind of do all of the research that you can before jumping in. I think you have to go into it with open eyes. Not saying that like you will really know or understand. I mean, it's a huge risk, right? But like just finding out all you can before you take that plunge. Once you've committed to doing that, then you have to stop listening to people. So it's like listen all you can, and then at some point just like stop listening. And what I mean by that is because like especially like in the market that I was talking about, anybody who thought about the chances for success and the risks, like you wouldn't do it, because like the odds are really stacked against you, I think, in any business venture. And so I think once you have your vision and you're committed to that vision, then you really have to single-mindedly just focus on that vision and focus on making that work. And then you have to just block out the noise around you, because there are so many people who will tell you why your idea isn't going to work, or, why things aren't going to pan out the way you think. And so I think it's a combination of those things. Like we'll call it strategic listening.
Strategic listening.
Yep.
Yeah. You have things to execute on. You don't have time to be distracted by the... Absolutely.
And also like I was just really surprised a little bit by the amount of naysaying that you encounter too. And so that's been a really amazing exercise. And it's, like you really have to, believe in yourself and your idea. And, once you're there, you go for it.
Go for it. I love that message. Thank you so much for being here, Diane. It's exciting to hear about Anchovy on this journey. And check it out at anchovy.app. It's live in the app stores. And
Absolutely.
yeah, people can follow along there. Thank you very much. Again, this is the Business L&K podcast. Thanks for listening.